Whenever she created drama, I didn't know what that meant, where it came from. I didn't know what to do about it. Like most men don't. When a woman creates drama, it has a bunch of reasons. Usually that you're weak in your leadership. I was so desperately trying to be a man that I might mess it up even worse. The more you're trying to be something you're not. Finally found, so this girl in college, she left me. You're kind of still a boy, overgrown boy. But I'm missing something. You're not really a man. It wasn't nearly as scathing as what the ice skater told me a couple of decades later, but it was still painful. So I became like this professional seducer. I got really, really good at it. Overcompensated, made up for lost time in record time. Finally found a girl that was really hot, typical model type, and I messed that one up too. That was in my late 20s. And there's something like what's known in mythology or astrology even, as the Saturn circle. So it comes around every 29 years, give or take. So when it's coming around in a 20, 28, 29-year-old circle, at 7, you're in school. So Saturn is not fun. When you're 14, puberty. A lot of people actually, in the old days, you'd start working at that age. Then at age 21 or so, when it's 3/4 around, this is mythology. This is in universal cycles. It shows you, look, it's time to leave home, to go out in the world, to either study something or get a real job. And then at 28, 29, just before you turn 30, it comes around again and shows you the seriousness of life. And it wants you to justify yourself like a mentor. It wants to know, what have you been doing the last 3 decades? At that point, I really had nothing to show for it, other than that I dedicated my life to pleasure craft like cars and boats and such. Speed cars, speed boats, whatever, racing. I was starting to be a photographer, not because it was really my life's calling, but because it was cool. Because as a photographer, in the late 80s, you got a lot of pussy, which was the single most important reason for me to become one. Yeah, I got a lot of pussy. So what? Still wasn't a man. And women let me feel that. So this woman, very model type, she was my #1 model. She was hot, she was blonde, she was like really sexy. But I wasn't a man, so I couldn't really lead her. So blind leading the blind, and after years, whenever she created drama, I didn't know what that meant, where it came from. I didn't know what to do about it. Like most men don't. When a woman creates drama, it has a bunch of reasons. Usually that you're weak in your leadership, or that they're really bored. Sometimes women create drama out of boredom. Well, this one, I was like overbearing. I wasn't really that nice to her. I was trying to, did not understand the difference between dominant and domineering, so I became domineering. What is domineering versus dominance? Dominance comes from strength, like King Arthur. You have a purpose, you have values and virtues, you know where you're going. Domineering is the opposite. It comes from weakness, it's tyrannical external power. Somebody has to lose for you to gain power. In that case, that was the woman I was with. I married her. A year later, she left me. Marriage lasted about a year. And after that, I was like, Interview with a Vampire, where Brad Pitt's talking about death could have come to me in any form. To me, it came in the form of a vampire, while to me, it came in the form of a certain government agency located on the banks of the Potomac River in Virginia. So I applied to that, decided I wasn't going to go with that for too long, but somehow I ended up in the shady netherworlds of military / intelligence / you name it. And then I was in Columbia. Not Columbia, South Carolina, mind you. The other Columbia. The one down south. I thought that was going to make me a man. But it didn't work. Nothing worked. Couldn't get there. I was so desperately trying to be a man that I might mess it up even worse. The more you're trying to be something you're not, the less you become it. And that becomes glaringly obvious. In my case, it was, yeah, sure, I got a lot of women to sleep with me, but none of them wanted a relationship. Should have told me something. I knew there was something wrong, I just didn't know what it was. And then after she left me, I said, I'm just gonna shut down my heart. I'm just gonna never go fall in love again, ever. I'm gonna harden my heart. I'm gonna be a player, Alfie. I'm gonna be Alfie. If you ever seen that movie, you know that's not gonna end well either. I figured out one thing though. I was really, really, really good at therapy, particularly sexual therapy with women. starting with my future ex-wife-to-be at the time, who faked an orgasm. And I caught her, because I knew the difference between a real orgasm and fake orgasm. I caught it. It's a good thing to know, the difference. And then I worked with her for a half a year to take all the pressure off. And after 6 months, I finally got her, quote unquote, got her to have an orgasm. Then when she left me, I said, wait. After the initial heartbreak and all that, and after hardening my heart, I said, look, you know, maybe I know enough psychology, at least I have a master's in it. Why, I don't know. Didn't do me a damn bit of good. But at least I had that, you know. I knew a little bit about Tantra. I knew a little bit about orgasms, particularly the female one. So I started working with women, first legitimately, quote unquote, into sexual therapy. And then it became more of a Tantra kind of thing. I worked with probably about 2,500 women over the course of 15, 20 years before I ever started working with men. The reason I even talked to men in the first place was that men came up to me and said, teach us. I said, teach you what? Like that thing you do with women. I said, I can't show you that. It's private. I said, no, but somehow these women kind of respect you. I said, do they? I don't know. I thought they did. So I started working with men, teaching them. It was really like the one-eyed. It was no longer the blind leading the blind, but it's still the one-eyed leading the blind. Because I thought I knew a lot about women because I was good at giving them orgasm and teaching them how to get there, how to get all their mental and emotional blocks out of the way, which is really what's keeping them, all the pressure, mostly from men, that keeps women from having orgasms. There's a lot of blocks, unresolved emotional crap, mostly from their puberty or childhood. Some of it is abuse. So I got really, really good at doing all this kind of stuff. Figuring out their emotional issues, helping them release it, overcome all their inner stuff. And it became like a self-perpetuating kind of thing. One woman told another, and it started, you know, coming. Can I come for sexual therapy? Well, some of them just wanted sex. May seem like a high quality problem, but what happens when you have that much interaction with women, in my case, what it did, it kind of made me internally shut down even more. It was all on the external. There was really no deep connection. There was a little deep connection, but it didn't last. So I told myself they liked me, but it really wasn't about me. It was what they wanted to learn. So somehow I kind of retreated without even understanding what was happening, more and more and more to my insides. If you've ever seen the movie Alfie, I'm talking about the remake now, not the original one with Michael Caine, the remake. And that movie is kind of sold as comedy. And I thought, and people told me, you're Alfie. You really are Alfie. I was even, by the players was told that. They said, you're kind of like Alfie. I said, well, you're a player, you want to talk. I said, yeah, but watch the movie, there's a difference. Watch it, you'll get it. And then one day I watched this movie. It wasn't that long ago. It was like 12 years ago, maybe. I was by myself in my little house in the Black Forest. I watched this movie, Alfie, and instead of finding it funny, I actually cried uncontrollably for an hour. In the end, he says, Alfie, the British character, what's his name again?
Jude Law.
Jude Law, thank you. I actually looked like Jude Law. If you see some early pictures of myself around the late 80s, I actually looked a lot like Jude Law. Yeah, it was easy getting women, it really was. And I was good at chatting them up. And I could show them sexual stuff. They were all, oh, really? You know how to do that? Oh, yeah, I know how to do that. Just come to my room and I'll show you. But there's a scene at the end of that movie where Jude Law, after every single scene in that movie, every last scene, with the sole exception of getting that girl pregnant, I've never gotten a girl pregnant, but with the sole exception of that, every single scene in there I had lived almost exactly like it was in the movie. Go watch that movie. You'll think, oh, I want to live that. Oh, that's horrible. And a lot of guys I told us to watch this movie, young pickup artists, and they said, oh, this is really horrible. How do you do that again? Yeah, you're right, that's really shallow and you really don't want to ever end up there. But give me a few pointers, please. I said, you idiots, you do not know what you want. You don't, be so fucking careful what you wish for. It sounds really great and it looks really funny in the movie. It's not. It's the loneliest fucking place on earth. Most guys who are maybe not getting the kind of pussy you want might think that that's a high quality problem. Trust me, I swear to God, it's not. It's everything but. It's the loneliest friggin' place. And the more women, every last woman, it's like taking heroin. You develop a serious tolerance against, and eventually it won't work to cover up your pain. You'll just need it just to go on. And that's such it is with any drug. And women become a drug very, very quickly if you're not careful. I know this may be outside what you think is real or possible for you. And you think right now, well, I'm not getting any pussy, so any pussy is better than no pussy. Well, true that, but like any drug, it'll fuck you up really bad, really quickly. So I developed an exercise over the years. I was taught it originally by other people, but not the way I practice it. But they helped me get rid of all these inner demons, all this inner stuff. So a lot of what I do now is very much informed by what I learned from the shamans in the Amazon over 30 years ago.